Well, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere there's going to be a clip of this going live out there, just like we're live on Facebook and TikTok right now at the same time. Hello, everybody out there. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. And today we're talking about the inking process and how it seems like it's taken forever to get to this point. So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you come on and hit the scene. But welcome, everybody. I'm going to be showing you some more crystals too. I just did a big wash. If you saw my latest post on here on TikTok, not on Facebook, but on TikTok. Oh no, I did put it on Facebook too. So it's everywhere right now. It's on Facebook. It's on TikTok. It's I think the only place I don't have it is Instagram. And then I'm gonna do some autography of some shirts really fast. See where I want to put this. Gotta figure out what I'm gonna write it into. I want to do it in this marker, which I might. And there you have it. Another autographed shirt going out right there. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, Kurt. I haven't got this out to you, buddy. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. I'm going to set that off to the side to let that dry while I grab the other one and sign it too. You know, because that's what we do here. We autograph our artwork. And he's one that definitely wants to autograph on the shirt. So if you do buy any shirts and you want it autographed, just let me know, and we will get those autographed for you. But we have lots of shirts available. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. And don't forget to like, share, and follow as you come on. And you can also follow my other social media accounts by going up to the profile. But number 2 shirt is autographed now. Right there. And ready to go out. I almost sent him out without autographing him again. He would not have been happy. All right. Going to be working on these bad boys as well. Yes, actual saw blades, as you can hear. Going to be putting some cool stuff on them. Some more horror icons, if you will. I'll get to those two in a minute. Bum, bum, bum. This one's a newer blade than those other ones. Well, technically, those might be new. I don't know. I got those at an antique store for like $5 for the whole stack. These I pulled out of the garage, so they're going to have to be sanded down really good because they've got nice little rust marks on them and stuff like that. So I got to sand them down and go from there. And I got 2 of those just like that. So they've got to get sanded down. Give me a nice smooth edge to work with so that I can do this type of stuff for you guys right here. Bum, bum, bum. Let me get them straight there. The art of art. Art the clown on a saw blade. And we also have Billy the puppet on a saw blade as well. Ready for your home, ready for your shelf, ready for whatever. And if you don't have a weapon in the house, you will now. Throw this at the mother. Right there. Oh, straight. Right there. Now this is just some of my artwork that you can get. Gabby, all you gotta do is hit me up. Let me know what you want. Hit me up in the DMs and we'll talk. We also have tons of shirts with Art the Clown and things like that on it. And so why would we talk about Dolly Parton? I mean, she's in the entertainment realm, but go ahead. My grandpa loved her. I can't stand country music, so there you go. Yes, I do have some Dexter. I actually have a big painting sitting over here to my right, and then we also have the T-shirts available right here. Bum bum bum. So Gabby, just hit me up, and we'll go from there. But there's this one, which is a picture that I've got down here in my portfolios, and then I'm gonna grab the big painting over here, dun, 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 right here. This is a big 18 by 24. If you're interested in something like this as well, we can talk about this. Put it right there. Oh, keep those. All right. Yes, the movie 9 to 5 or the song 9 to 5 because she did both, you know. I remember when she came to Old Country Buffet one time. She was the cat's meow. Well, I mean, everybody liked her because of two assets that she had. Sweet Gabby, I can't wait. And I'll send you a message if you haven't sent me one. By the end of the show. Um, we're usually on for about an hour. Sometimes we almost go to 2 hours, depending on the conversation and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, the shirt quality comes out really, really nice. This is one that just came in, and I just autographed it. This is my American Horror shirt based off the 1930s painting, The American Gothic, with the old guy and the younger looking woman that everybody's like, well, that's a Mandela effect because it used to be an old woman next to him, and now it's like looking like his daughter more than his wife, with their farmhouse in the background and all that good stuff. Well, I did Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein with the Frankenstein's castle in the back. And so, do I do realism? I do realism all the time, all different kinds of things. In fact, well, hell, I'll just pull up a little bit more of a realistic, well, semi-realistic, if you will, right here. Mr. Chester Bennington, getting ready to do a Ozzy Osbourne piece in this same vein as well. And then if you don't like that one, we've got another one I did not too long ago. Mr. Ivan Moody of Five Finger Death Punch. But I do all kinds of stuff, from the real to family portraits to animal portraits, which I'm doing this is just in the works before the painting happens. A memorial to a family dog that passed away. Yes, that's a wheelchair that he was rolled around in because he got a little too big for his britches. And so the owner wheeled him around in a wheelchair and took him out and let him do his business and all of that good stuff. So I do all kinds of stuff. Good morning, Mr. Roy Joe. I have charcoal. I use charcoal on a regular basis. Many different hardnesses of charcoal. I don't do that primarily. This is primarily what I work in: pencil, pen and ink, colors, things of that nature. This is a piece I'm inking up right now, and that's what the topic of today is: inking process. The inking process. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I gotta flip it around. I forget. I wish they would just get rid of the mirror option and just leave it alone because they're jackasses like that. But James, this is the type of stuff that I normally do. This is a amalgam of some God of War characters, and it's going great so far, Mr. Roy. You're gonna last the whole day. You're gonna last the whole hour. Or are you gonna go crawl into bed and go, I'm getting sleepy? Yes, I'm not drinking a normal drink today. And no, that is not coffee. It is hot chocolate. I don't do the coffee scene. Never have, never will. But then this is another amalgam piece here. You got Decker from Blade Runner, and you've got Sora from Kingdom Hearts right here. And it says, so, let's see. So you didn't use a one-to-one reference? Most of the stuff I try to pull from my head. I will pull references for clothing and things like that, but I'll draw the character shapes and things like that. So, and and it just depends. Now, if it's a family portrait, I'll try to keep it as close as possible um, to what they've got there as a one-to-one reference for. But most of the time, I draw my character shapes out um, in the wireframe process, the the flower bag process, which is a lot of different processes for drawing out the human figure. So, and it works just the same when it comes down to doing family portraits and things like that. So again, it just depends. It's just like when I talk to the parents that bring their kids to the comic book conventions and stuff like that, you know. And what do I think of the grid method? I used that a lot whenever I was going to a technical college for art. That's how they taught us to get your perspectives in correctly. Um, and the grid method works for a lot of people. How they break up each little section as a square, and then they, draw it on a bigger scale. Me, I don't do that. But if it works for you or whoever, I'm all for it. Because there's no wrong way to do art. You know, because you'll see the people go out there and just take a blank piece of paper and just go. You know, you'll see people go out there with a blank canvas and start throwing paint on it, and then start doing the finger paint process, and boom, here's an awesome picture. Um, Mr. Nice Guy, who's not on here right now, but he was sending me pictures of the guy that I've seen a million times, and he does phenomenal work. Um, he takes old thrift shop painting or pictures from thrift shops and um, like Goodwill and places like that, and he'll buy up the picture, and then he'll bring them home and turn them into something else. Uh, Meaning he'll add elements to an old time scene or like AT-ATs or Star Wars scene or whatever. Um, well, you can't really say that because they're creating from that grid method. I mean, I understand some people will say that you're not a real artist if you use a grid method, but you've got to start somewhere. And if that's how you learn to start, and then you progress from there, you know, it's all a progression. It's I didn't just do this overnight. I've been drawing since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I've had a pencil of some sort, a crayon, marker, something in my hand as far as a drawing instrument, growing up my entire life. Now, when I got married in 2010, for the first 5, almost 6 years of that marriage, I was told that art would not supply enough money, revenue to, sustain a household, to, put food on the table, keep the lights on, keep the mortgage going, keep her happy, blah blah blah. And so for the first almost 6 years of that marriage, I put the pen and paper down. I didn't touch it, and it was miserable. You know, and once I picked it back up in probably mid 2016, well, the very next year in 2017, I started going to comic book conventions. You know, and doing my thing, doing my groove, and moving forward from there. Now this year we took a break. We did not go to any comic book conventions this year, and we will not go to any comic book conventions this year. This is what we're calling our rebuild year because we're under a new moniker of 412 Productions. We used to be under AGK, which was Anderson Graphics Kingdom. But the beginning of this year of 2025, well, backtrack to December, I put up a gravestone with my old logo on it and a start and end date on it from basically 2014 because I was dabbling a little bit at that point in time, but I really picked up everything in 2016 and um, put the start date on it, put the end date on it, and everybody started freaking out, especially my mother. She was like, you're giving up your artwork? I can't believe this." It's like, "Mom, just wait, just wait." And she's like, "Don't give up your artwork." And I'm like, "Mom, just wait." And a lot of other people were saying the same things. "I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're stopping. Blah blah blah." It's like, people, just wait, just wait, just wait. So about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, I rolled out 412 Productions, and it's not a phrase in a Bible. It's not a phrase in a book. It's a time. 4:12 a.m. in the morning is when I used to wake up pretty much every day. And one day, as I progress through alarm clocks to the phone as the alarm clock, pick up the phone, look at it, 4:12. Okay, I got some time. Try to go back to sleep. And as soon as I close my eyes, this word productions goes across my eyes, and it's just like, productions. What the hell does that mean? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, 412 Productions. Well, that's a catchy title. I'll just put it in the back of my head, you know. And so from there, it just sat there. And so I did my thing under AGK, and went to a lot of comic book conventions and stuff like that. Well, come December, like I said, I start looking at things. It's just like, well, things are starting to slow down. People aren't buying as much. People aren't interested. All those good things. And I'm like, what's going on? What's the deal? So I get to thinking that maybe somebody's you know putting out bad press about me or my artwork or whatever. And so it's like, okay, it's time to kill the old and bring in something new. And then I remember, hey, you've got 412 Productions sitting in there. That's a good title. So I start reworking everything. I come up with this awesome logo that I think is killer. And then I start looking at it and I'm like, this really sucks. I'm like, I can do better than this. So this was the original logo. Pretty flat, pretty dull, pretty drab. But it is still an alien, which I'm big into. Aliens, Bigfoots, all the cryptids, all the folklore, all the lore, all that good stuff. And drawing on a sheet of paper, and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting ready to roll this out. And then I start really, really looking at it, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting ready to roll this out. And then thus, this logo was born. This alien was created with, this is my actual arm, well, wherever it is, right here. Right here. This is my actual arm with the pencil and my drawing glove, which is right here. Dun, dun, dun. Drawing glove. And that's how 412 came into existence. I told Bonesy Jonesy, Mr. Brandon Jones of Bonesy Jonesy's Comics and Collectibles up in Jonesboro, Arkansas, who we had our last show of the whole story of it all. And he was like, well, that's pretty cool stuff. And as soon as I rolled out on January 1 of this year, things started to progress quickly. I started selling artwork again. I started getting commissions in. I will tell you about it, James. I'll look at it here in a little bit once I'm done with my show. And you know, I'll give you some critique, some criticism, and you got to take criticism, good, bad, whatever, because you know people are going to talk shit about artwork no matter what. I've had people come back on old pieces of artwork, and they're like, "That's just totally awful." Well, did you ever see the finished product? Because what you're looking at is the black and white, the ink portion. You know, no color, no nothing else. You know, did you go look at the finished product? But no, there was a Batman Who Laughs that I did, and I presented it to the public. Well, one guy was like, "Well, I think the head is too small." You know, I could have went like, "Well, up yours, dude. You know, this is my piece of artwork. You know, and I don't care what you say. I'm gonna leave it just like it is." But as I start to look at the piece, it's like, well, he's right. The head is too small for the body that it's on. So I reworked the head, made it proportion size correctly, and I'm not even sure where it is, to be honest. Um, I know it's on my page out there, but I don't know if I've actually got it in here. But you know, these are some of my Batman drawings right here. Adam West as the original OG Batman, Burt Ward and Yvonne Craig, Batman and Batgirl, right there. Let's see who else we're gonna flip into. Oh, Star Wars. Got Greedo right there. You got Luke on the, what are they, Wampas? You got an old and new Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got the one from the 1970s Star Wars, and then you've got, of course, Mr. Ewan McGregor as the younger version. And this is a sold piece, so it's pretty awesome, isn't it? That was my Black Cat that I did as a uh, Scott Campbell put out a challenge to artists out there, and he was like, I want you guys to redo my cover of this Spider-Man. You know, the Amazing Spider-Man. What's up, Tabor? And so a lot of us did. We sent them in to him on the page. Good to hear, brother. And it's like he commented on it. He was like, "That's pretty awesome work," which I can't show you because it's not here. It actually sold here earlier this year, and is in its new forever home. But it was pretty cool to get his compliments on that piece. Now this is the one that the person said awful to on my Vampirella right here. They just had it in the black and white version is all they saw, and you know, all that goody good stuff. And they were like, "That's just totally awful." Like, okay, dude, that's your opinion. Other people really like it. This is Vampirella in a bloodbath. Well, much appreciated. Thank you very much. And then here's this Vampirella with her cloak going on here. Another piece that has sold out of this one. And then here's my other Pattinson Batman, which I think he did a really good job in this. And I'm looking forward to the next one. The Batman 2, which is the first time in franchise history that they've just used a numeral as its second part. And then you got X-23, Laura Kinney. And then you got my take on Cable. If you know, you know. This is Clint Eastwood from Dirty Harry as Cable. Yes, all this is my artwork. And then you've got, of course, Emma Stone. Well, let me put it the right way. As Cruella de Vil. Right there. She's got some fierce eyes in that picture. Let's see who we got next. Mr. Sting from the originally the WWF, and now the what is it now? Uh, the same one that Dr. Britt Baker works or wrestles for, ECW or something like that. He was at a convention that I was at. Couldn't get close to his table because he was the most packed out, so I didn't get these autographed like I did the Dr. Britt Baker one up there. And he seemed to be a pretty cool dude. He was really interactive with the fans. You got Ash from the Evil Dead up here. This is from the new series, Ash versus Evil Dead TV series. And then this is a Batman in progress that I'm working on right now. All that bat in the background is going to be black. And then of course, the emblem on the cover is going to be, or on his chest is going to be black. And then this still has to get some black put in it as well, right there. And then some empty pages. And then we go into a little bit of anime, Black Butler. They didn't like this version, so I redid another one. And then this is the Feral Wolverine from the series when he has his bone claws and he's looks like an actual creature instead of, the 5'2". And this one is fun. This is my second iteration of this Winnie the Pooh. He's called Pooverine. He is my complete creation, and he was done before, again, this is my second iteration of this one. He was done before Disney actually bought Marvel. I did a whole amalgam with the characters of Winnie the Pooh and Marvel characters. So I had Piglet as Angel, and I called him Angelet. I had Sabretooth and Tigger. I did Quicksilver and Rabbit. Of course, I did this one right here, Wolverine, right there. He's drinking a honey beer right there. And then we get into my comic book covers, the blank covers that you see at stores, comic book shops. This is a wraparound cover. There's another figure of Spider-Woman on the back of this one. And then we break into my Jokers. This is a tattoo version of the Joker right here. And then this is the Joker from inside of this book where he broke into the Batcave and stole a bat outfit, Batman's outfit, and he made it his own. Oops. I'm knocking my crystals around. And then I've got Punchline, his new main squeeze right here, with that typical female pose that you see where they're sticking their tongue out all the time. And then some new and old X-Men, Marvel Girl and Rogue, right there. And then some Green Lantern, if you're into that. Boom, boom, boom. Trying to get it where you guys can see it really good. Another Batman. This was a quick one that I was doing at a comic book convention. And then, that's the last one in here. Yeah. Miss Red Sonja just killed a ginormous snake behind her as the head has been severed with her bloody sword. So there you go. That's just this book right here. And, I've got two other big books, 11 by 15s. Those are 9 by 12s. And then I do paintings in all different sizes, shapes, and all that good stuff. But thank you for being here with us, everybody. Those of you that are stopping in, checking out the channel. Yeah, it's a pretty large mug as well. Takes 2 shots of espresso in here. I'm kidding. It takes 2 of the pods on the large cup size. So most of the time that large cup size fills up 1 cup. But this takes 2. It takes two to make the things go right. It takes two to make it out of sight. I know Roy over there is dancing in his seat. Alabama Slammer right there. All right, so we're talking about the inking process right now. And this is the product that I'm inking in right now. This is the amalgam of the Dreki and the Wolver from God of War right here. And this is the vision of the person that wanted it done. Now my version is right up here in the tree line back here. He's more of a hulking beast than his version over here. But, you know, he originally gave me, he was like, I'm going to give you full reign. Um, yeah, make it out of sight, you know. And originally he gave me full reign of the product. And he was like, I want to see your take on it. I want to see your vision, your imaginary on it, or imagination on it. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then a couple days later, he's like, have you even started on that product or project yet? And I was like, no, not yet. He's like, well, I've got some ideas. He goes, I know I gave you total, control over the whole thing, but this is what I want. I was like, okay. I mean, it's your piece. You're paying for it. It's all good. And so, you know, I did his version first, and then I'm doing my version in the background that I had in my head as soon as he told me about it, because I took more of the Wolver look over the Dreki look, but it's still them both melded together, you know. And so that is going to look cool when it's all said and done. And then once I get that one inked in, I'll get the inking process started on this one. Bum, bum, bum. The Blade Runner Kingdom Hearts amalgam mashup piece right there. And then I'll get his third, the 18 by 24 started, that he's got on the table as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to also be getting my Ozzy Osbourne piece started. I'm going to be getting one of my comic book covers started for my own book. I'm also going to be looking at a piece that my cousin sent in for me to work on. And I'm also going to be working on a comic book for Mr. Patrick Hickey Jr. out there. And his product, Condry, a special one off. And I'm looking forward to that one because I will be doing the complete artwork on that from start to finish. The the cover, the interiors, all that good stuff. And that'll give me a good run on my own book because it's been a long, long time since I've done an interior works. And um, to do sequential artwork on pages is what that means. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to a lot of things that are happening. And yes, we are 9 months into the year, almost to the 10th month. So this year is quickly coming to a close. And I got to get busy. I got to get on the ball. Even though it's an 8-page spread, for this one off, I got to get going on it. So, you know, it is what it is on that end, and we will get there and we will get it going and get it done. Um, so I've got to look at James's work. I'm writing this stuff down. Talk to Gabby. And James to check out his artwork. Okay. Roy, what are you doing out there? Well, I got a lot of other things going on too. Building a chicken coop, trying to clean up the yard, trying to clean the house, try to plan more trips to crystal mines, those type things. Especially whenever you clean up all these and you find some really cool clusters, you know, as yours haven't been cleaned yet, they're still in the bucket. So we'll get to cleaning yours too. Well, actually, you can clean yours in your own damn sink. I'll bring them over to your house. But right there, nice little cluster grouping right there on just that one little piece. Everything is still on my desk from the other day, and we got some really good ones out of this one. A little double right here, double cluster. Nice little spikes on that right there. And I wish this one would have been whole. It would have been a nice spike. But right there, you can see all the little different configurations on it. Right there. And you can see those nice flat edges. And this one's really cool because it came directly from the rock right there. And it's got some really nice edges on it. But here is where it's coming out of the quartz itself. And then the vein right here is what that is, turns the spike into right there. Very clear on the inside. We did end up with some cool colored ones too, some yellows and some pinks. But this one is really interesting because it's more like a file on the backside over here. Over here, which you guys can't really see that there. But then on this side, it's nice and crystal clear. On this side, you can see all the way through to that sandpaper looking edge over here that's nice and glistening and sparkly and all that good stuff. But that's a nice little spike right there. One of the better pieces, this one right here. It's not as, I mean, this one is really nice, but this one has the clarity and the quartz section down here that it's coming off of, and you got the nice little, super crystal clear, where this one is starting to go crystal clear, but it's still got a lot of the elements on the inside. So this one's a really, really nice piece. Right there. And just a ton of little clusters all over the place, like this little guy sticking out there. I don't know if you can see that. You see that little point sticking right there? I'm putting it on the dark section right there. So you got that nice little point. Let me put it up right there. Coming off of that cluster, and then another double cluster right there. But some of the cooler ones are in this really small realm. This one is more of a pinkish color, almost a yellowish amber color, which is hard to see just because of how small it is. But it does have a pinkish tint to it, more so than anything else. And it's just really, really cool piece. And then we got some yellows in here, like in this one right here. Right there. And that one has, dadgummit, that one has a yellow tint to it. And these are just part of what we found. Now, all of this right here is just bits and pieces of crystal and points and things like that. So it's all full of the small stuff, you know. But then you've got some super crystal clear spikes like this one that you can see all the way through. Don't forget to like, share, and follow if you are here with us. And this one's kind of cool because it's got some grooves in it. And I wonder if you put this on a record player, what it would say. You know? Because it's got some super awesome grooves in it. I don't know if you can see those or not. You can kind of see them right there. Right there. You can see those grooves on that flat edge. It's like a record player groove. So I wonder what it would sound like, on a record player. And then of course, you've got this quartz spike, which is, I don't see these very often. It hasn't started doing the crystal clear section yet, but it's pretty cool. I gotta sneeze. this nice little crystal clear looking spike. Pretty cool looking. Again, it's got the grooves in it as well. So I wonder what it would do, if you could get those grooves to talk. Would you hear dinosaur noises? Would you hear, early man? Would you hear, those type things? And this little guy, little spike, teeny tiny little spike. Thanks, man. Right there, little spike. It's got a little bit of a yellow tinge to it, to a twinge. But you get all kinds of cool stuff where you can see the rock formation right there, and don't worry if it's a crystal. And again, you see the grooves in it, so you always wonder what does this talk? Because you see old vases and things that were made back in the day, and they say whenever they were spinning those vases and putting the grooves in those, that some of those recorded voices and things like that, which I don't know if that's true or not, but it would be cool if it did, because just think, what does the history of this rock say? If it could talk, what would this say? What would this rock, what would this crystal say? You know, it's just things you think about as you start looking over the crystals and things like that. It's just like, well, there's grooves in this thing, you know, and they always talk about how the grooves capture the sounds of the day, or the sounds around where these are. Now, these were inside of boulders and started out as dirt and all that good stuff, but you know, over millions of years, all of it could say something. Just think, you play this in a record player, and you've got what true dinosaurs sound like, or true birds of the day, or whatever. What does this grooves talk? What does it say? You know, but then of course it's going to make a really cool necklace as well. But no, no, a lot of this stuff is going up for sale. Uh, Once we get to figure out what we want to do with them all, but a lot of them are going to go up for sale and go from there. But this little guy, that little spike, it's got two of them, one crisscrossing each other right there. You can see it as it's crossing. It's other one here as this one's going up this way. Show you guys two up there. You got the double going on right in there. Hard for you guys to see up here, but it's just all cool, all fine and dandy. It's fun. It's an addiction. You pay your one little price to get in, military discount, and as well, and you get in there and you start digging all day long for most places. Now, the one I'm going to avoid is probably the Wegner Mine here in Arkansas, and they give you a 2-hour dig spot, and I don't like that. I'd rather dig all day long for my money, um, because I mean, this piece right here just paid for that trip. If I sell this piece, sell this for $25, it just paid for the trip. You know, because that's what we're seeing these go for on these crystal clear quartzes and things like that. And now this one is more like $100 piece right here. Some of them were being sold for about 150. You know, so on this particular size, but it is what it is. And clusters like this were going for 180 to $200. On this size right here. But we're not doing that. We're going to keep it to where people can live and still put food on the table when we do start selling them off. But we will be selling off crystals, so be looking for that as well. Just because crystal mining is fun, it's awesome, and you find so many cool different ones. Like at Ron Coleman, it wasn't the greatest of digs, especially when you're having to dig deep into the dirt. And but you do find some cool stuff. I found a really tiny, nice little spike or spear that was about this big. I mean, literally this big. It's in a jar, um, with the first set of stuff that we ever dug at Ron Coleman. And then all of this that I've been showing you over time, all came from the Avant Mining LLC in Mount Ida. So we're going to be hitting a few more, before the end of the year. Excuse me. I mean, we could hit some in December too. Who knows? It'll be nice and cold and probably have some snow on the mountaintops. But we're wanting to hit one every month, and you got to do that if you're going to have inventory, right? But no, it's all good. It's all fun. Uh, it's just a blast, 100%. And I mean, even Roy had a little bit of fun. I think, you know, while he was stationary in one spot digging around. He is limited on what he can do, which is all good, all fine and dandy. And you know, there's some spots that I don't think you would have fun at because not everything has nice accessible like the Avant does. The Avant, you can drive your car directly up onto the mountain and start your dig. And we brought back boulders. I mean, pieces of boulders that have crystals, clear crystal quartzes sticking out of them, and so think this right here, just on a bigger scale, like somewhere in this vicinity of about 110 pounds or more, you know. Yes, we brought back some massive. We brought back quite a bit of the mountainside with us. Let's put it that way. But yeah, talking about the inking process, back to that, which is what the title of the show is. I never thought I'd get to this point of the show. Said, yes, I had a great time with you too, buddy. Thanks for letting me go with you. No problem. There was a lot going on at that point in time, so you needed a distraction. So. But I never thought I'd be at this point in time where I'm inking, tightening in work, on this piece. I thought it was going to be in pencil form for forever, as I'm sitting here working on it, working on the other piece, and just procrastinating, you know. And you do get in that mindset of procrastination, which sucks. And but you roll with the punches, you move on, and you take life by the horns, and you steer it in the direction you want to go. You know, don't let life dictate where you're going to go. You create your own direction. So remember that. If you don't remember anything else from this show or broadcast, remember that you are the master of your own ship. Don't let other people manipulate you into um, thinking you're worth less than you are. Because that happened to me with my second ex-wife. Um, and she would always hold that she had a degree, college degree over my head, even though it was a dance administration business degree, whatever that means. Yes, I had a technical college degree from Platt College out of Oklahoma City, which has become this huge place that you really want to go to. Whereas before it was just a place to get you some technical skills and things like that. But I had a commercial arts degree from there. And then I started going back to college on my GI Bill um, for early childhood education because I thought I was going to become a teacher in the elementary school, an art teacher on that note. And, transition into being a coach as well. But I stopped going, even though I had a grade point average of 3.8 in my courses. I just decided, it's really not for me. I'll let the younger crowd have that. I'm already old enough. And you're never too old to learn. Let's just put it that way. So, um, because it was one of my biggest sayings is your mind is only as big as you want it to be, and I've been using that line for years, and it's true. You know, your mind can continue to expand and grow with what you take in. You know, but then on the same note, be careful of your thoughts because your thoughts can become you. You know, if you're all about the nudity, you know that's what you're going to become. If you're all about the sports, that's what you're going to become. You're going to have sports knowledge. If you're going to be all about, you know, finance and day trading and things like that, that's what you're going to know. You know, and then some of the other things in life could slip through the cracks. I keep a broad horizon, um, and what that means is I learn about a lot of different subjects. Now, I don't know everything about every subject, and I'm not a Mr. Know It All, but do know a lot about a lot of different subjects, if that makes any sense to you. And while I'm signing stuff, I might as well go ahead and sign this copy for Mr. Casey out there. While I'm thinking about it, I'll use this color. Make sure it's coming out, and it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. I'm signing it for you right here. And these are dog tags that I put on here now. I might switch back to my other one, but I've been using the dog tags since the end of last year. And there you go, Casey. This one's autographed. I got to dig out the other one and get it autographed for you. I'm going to let that dry before I slide it back in the cover. I slide it back in the protective casing that it's in. Yeah. Oh. But you always let those dry before you slide them back in. But yes, inking process does take a little bit of time because you are tightening up the work that you did in pencil form. And now some people will do a lot tighter works in their pen and ink than their pencil work. Their pencil work will be nice and still, you know, showing the wire frame and all that stuff with the where the eye sockets and stuff like that go. And then they'll go in there and make it look really killer with the ink side. So, you know, kudos to them as they are more talented than I am. And I don't have a problem with that because they've been doing it for a lot longer than I have. And you know, some people went to the Joe Kubert School of Art, which is one place that I wanted to go. I truly wanted to go to that school, and I can still possibly go to that school. Um, I know it just costs a lot of money because it is in New Jersey, and a lot of people have come through that school. A lot of people that have come through that school have also gone on to the comic book career that they have now. You know, being a comic book cover artist or a splash page artist or consecutive artist inside the books. You know, those type things. And you know, at one point in time, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the comic realm. I wanted to, you know, do the whole comic book for other people type of a situation. But now, as I look at it, and as you know, I talk to the other the colorist that works with you know the big companies out there, Marvel, DC, Image Comics, and things like that. Mr. Dave Kemp, he was like, if you can do your own stuff, do your own stuff. He goes, um, he goes, had I done that, you know, in the beginning, instead of you know working for other people, it would have been much more rewarding for me. He goes, not that my job isn't rewarding now. He's like, but there is a big difference, you know, in what he's doing, because now he is trying to work on his own book, called Nocturnals. I don't know when it's coming out. I've got a splash page for it at some point in time that he's going to color up for me in that realm. And um, I'm hoping to see it in print, you know, and that will be another piece in another comic book that I've got print work in. As of right now, I've got 2 comic book covers under my belt, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I do have my 4-issue comic book series in the works, and you know, I'm gonna go from there and continue on. I've got, hopefully I get to see it in my lifetime. The children's book that I worked on should be out there on Amazon, for Mr. Larry Donald, telling the story of his life, um, through his boxing career, through the eyes of a child, if you will. So it's a chapter book at first, and then from there, once that happens, we're going to do a sequential. I think it's going to be like 16 pages per book. There's 3 different books, so I look forward to continuing that endeavor with him. My cousin hit me up, and he's got a children's book that he wants to do as well. And then I've got, for Legacy Comics, right here, Legacy Comics. This is the job number 3. This is my painted cover, which is sitting right over here. Um, I've got another book to work on for Legacy Comics right there. So things are on the uprise, and I have just got to get it in gear. Once I get these inked in and colored, then I can start the big piece over here. Plus, I can be working on the other pieces as well, for the other book that I'm working on for Legacy Comics there as well. Um, it does have a March deadline out there, and I'm also in the works with a movie producer, a local movie producer who has a lot of movies under his belt, Mr. Jason Pitts. We are doing a horror comic together, and I've got to get on his section out there and read what he's already written for it, for the continuation of the story. Um, so, and then we're deciding if it's going to be a one shot or if it's going to be a continuated story. Um, Most likely, it's going to be a one shot at first, and then a continuation thereafter. So we'll see how that goes. But everything is progressing slowly, and can most comic artists have several different publishers? It just depends, but yes. Um, Take Joseph Michael Linsner's Dawn. It's been published under Cirrus, it's been published under Image, and it's been published under Cry for Dawn. Take The Crow. First out, it started out, uh, shit. I'm trying to remember what title, what entity it started under. I think it was Entity Comics where it started with The Crow, and then he moved into. Hello, where's my verification? There we go. With The Crow, then he went under like Caliber Comics. He went under. This is James O'Barr. He went under. Who else did? Dark Knight. Is that right? No, crap. Anyway, The Crow was published under different ones. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Now, most of the time, whenever somebody locks you into a contract, they have a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, where you can't work with another company until your time ends on that project that you're working on. Now, there's other publishers that don't won't sign that because they're like, no, I want to work with DC and Marvel at the same time, and they will be able to do that. You know, oh, you're going to bed. Oh, how cute. Well, you have a great night, buddy. I'm surprised you don't get sleep at night where you can stay up during the day. You know. But yes, Robert, they several people do work under several different companies because they want that income flow coming in, and so like me as an independent artist, I can work for whoever I want to. Like I've done covers for uh, Psycho Sal out there, William Russell's work. I've done work for Legacy Comics. I've got my own works in the works, and then another one with a friend of mine. You know, Plus I've got stuff out there for Antarctic Press, Mr. Ben Dunn and Antarctic Press. Tomorrow Girl, I'm waiting for that splash page to show up somewhere. Um, and just little things like that. So you can work with multiple different people if you really want to. But again, there are some companies out there that will sign you into an NDA saying, hey, you can't work with anybody else until this project is done or we get rid of you, and how the world is. If we fire you, we fire you. If we don't like your work enough. But yes, you can work for whoever you want to. Welcome back, James. And I will be looking at your stuff here in a little bit because I am about to kill the show. I've got some animals to take care of. I do homestead. I do illustrations on a regular basis. So, if I'm not working on artwork, I'm working on something for my chicken coop or my pig pens or, those type things. So it's a busy time, a busy life around here on a regular basis. But we are going to leave you for now. And if you have any more questions, please hit me up in DMs. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. Go also up here. I don't know if that's where it is on your screen or not, but you can follow my other social medias, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you're already here on TikTok with us live. So I appreciate each and everybody being here and staying and asking questions because that's very awesome. And that's how shows progress. So, as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.